What's good, everyone? This is your host, Tarad Rashan, and you are now tuned into Taradcast. For all of the brand new listeners out there listening to our show for the very first time, welcome. And for all of you returning listeners coming back for another weekly dose of Taradcast brain teasing, welcome back. Now at Taradcast, you can take everything we say with a grain of salt. We simply just want to add some flavor to your meal. So if we're doing that, then we are doing our job. Today's episode is an episode that was based on a game that was introduced to me earlier this year. And this game had my mind so confused that it frustrated me to no end. But there are some wonderful things I learned from playing this game. So without further ado, today's episode topic is, it's the letters, not the words. This is Taradcast. Let's get it. All right, y'all. Welcome back to Taradcast. Again, I am your host, and I just want to, first of all, just say thank you, because you all continue to listen every week. You all continue to tell others about this show, and I am feeling right here, right now, this intense feeling of gratitude. You know, the last couple of days I have dialed down and I have started to make good on the things I said that I was going to do in the 1 year episode. And the work that's being put in, it's work nonetheless, but at the same time, it's work that I feel good about. And it is giving me such a feeling that just tells me that what I am doing is moving me in the right direction. And because of that, it's opening up my mind once again to so many things that I find myself grateful for. The big things, the small things, the things that on a regular basis I don't even pay attention to. And I'm finding myself just taking a second look at a lot of those things, and even taking a second look at a lot of people, and just finding these intense feelings of gratitude. And that's where I am. So I hope that, you know, as you're listening to this, as you even go about your day, you know, after this episode or during this episode, you know, you will also take some time to find those things that maybe you haven't really been looking at or paying attention to, and find the value in those things again, and be grateful for those things, and be grateful for those people as well. Because for me, that's where I am right now. And I hope that this is one of those things you can also take from this episode, because I promise you, the feelings that you'll have are going to carry you through, like in so many situations. So I just wanted to get that out there. I also wanted to give a shout out to the Unfair Sports Show with Jay and Jimmy. A couple of weeks ago, their show shouted me out and shouted this podcast out. And again, that's one of those things where it's so small, but at the same time, it meant the world to me. So if you are a listener of this show and you're also an avid sports fan, I highly, highly recommend that you check out and listen to the Unfair Sports Show with Jay and Jimmy. They have a lot of good knowledge there. For those who like to bet on games, they have things there that will allow you to do that. Their banter is amazing. They even have a call-in line. Like, they are really doing it over there. YouTube channel, I've watched their videos. Videos are very, very well done. And so I hope that if you are a sports fan, that you check out Unfair with Jay and Jimmy. It can be found on a lot of the major podcasting applications. So there's no excuse, but I just wanted to say salute to Unfair, salute to you guys over there. I appreciate the shout out. And I wanted to return the love. I wanted to return the favor. I wanted to give that back to you because I am grateful for you and I'm grateful for what you're doing. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into our housekeeping details. So if you would like to take our show with you on the go, just know that we are on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, Spreaker, Podchaser, Castbox, Podcast Addict, iHeartRadio, Deezer, and YouTube. Now, there were 2 services in there that I have not mentioned before. And yes, as of this past week, our show is now being hosted on Amazon Music and Audible. So for those of you who listen to audiobooks, or if Amazon Music is where you have the majority of your music stored, you can now find Tarodcast on those platforms. I am very excited about that. That is, for me, I'm like, we're growing and growing. Like these little things, I told you I was grateful. These little things are truly showing their value to me. And it's giving this show an opportunity to reach more people. So I just wanted to put that out there. We're on all those platforms, but the 2 newest ones are Audible and Amazon Music. You can also find Tarodcast on Throne, which is a free live messaging application that allows us here at Tarodcast to exclusively reach our listeners. Make sure to sign up if you'd like to keep the conversations going after the episode. If you're looking for natural oils for ultimate hydration and care for your hair and skin, hit up the Resilient Lotus at www.theresilientlotus.com, and you can also use the promo code Tarodcast to receive a discount on your purchase. If you are a lover of authentic chunky salsas and the most delicious birria tacos in Oklahoma City, make sure to reach out to Morenitas Salsitas at www.certain-t.com/Morenitas-Salsitas. And last but not least, if you are in the market for an affordable graphic designer to create your next logo, flyer, album cover, or animated video, check out at Rose Graphism on Instagram. All this information, as always, will be in our episode notes. All right, y'all. So it's the letters, not the words. I want to take a few moments just to talk about the game, because the game itself is a thinking game, and you literally have to figure out how to play. You may have heard of it, and for those of you that have heard of it, don't say anything. And for those who may not have heard of it, well, this podcast is for you. And it's also for those who have heard of it, because like I said, there are some human applications that I pulled from this game as I was playing it. So, it's for everyone. It's for everyone. So, but in this moment, if you haven't heard of it, all right, sit down, buckle up. I'm going to throw a whole bunch of stuff at you, and I want you to try and follow me as best as you can. So in this game, it's the letters, not the words. It acts as 3 things. It acts as the name of the game. It acts as the rules of the game. And it is also the biggest hint of the game. It's the letters, not the words. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and give y'all some examples. Okay, here we go. All right. So, and hold on, let me grab my little piece of paper here because I wrote these down. Didn't want to forget these. All right. So it's the letters, not the words. It's the millions, not the hundreds or the thousands. It's the yellow and the green, but it's not the red, the blue, the orange, the violet, the purple, the black, or the white. It's the hurricane, the typhoon, and the whirlpool. But it's not the tropical storm, the cyclone, the earthquake, the tornado, or the eruption. It's not the rest, but it is the sleep. It's the letters, not the words. It's the letters, not the words. Are you following? Do you get it? Do you get it? If not, I wrote down a couple more. All right, here we go. All right, so here we go. It's the kisses, but it's not the hugs. It's the groom, but it's not the bride. It's not the diving, the floating, or the jumping, but it is the swimming. And it is also the pool. It's the letters, not the words. It's the letters, not the words. Okay, I can only imagine that for those of y'all who have played this game, you know exactly what I'm doing. For those of you who have not played this game or even heard about it, you're just like, what are you talking about? Trust me, I know exactly where you are. And I want to talk a little bit more about my frustrations because honestly, this game, no lie, took me a good 2 days to figure out how to play it. It literally took me 48 whole hours to figure out how to play this game. And the only hint that I got was this. It's the letters, not the words. So let me talk about when I first attempted to play. So when I first was introduced to this game earlier this year, like I was like, okay, this game is simple enough. Okay, there's correlations between these items, and so I just need to find out how to correlate them. And I was both right and wrong. And so some of the examples that I remember giving when I first started was, it's the fan, but it's not the air. It's the desk, but it's not the chair. That actually rhymed. I did not mean to do that, but it's what I said. It's the grass, but it's not the lawn. Now, of these 3 examples that I remember giving, I remember that I only got one of these right. I'm not going to tell you which one it was that I got right, but I only got one of these right. And when I was like, trying to dig around for more information, the only thing that I was told was that it's the letters, not the words. It's the letters, not the words. And oh my God, I feel like that got my blood boiling because I'm like, how is this even a thing? How is this possible? What does this even mean? And I looked up, down, left, right, forward, backward, just to try and figure out what the actual meaning was for the examples that were given to me and to, finding out how they actually related to one another. And, I was given example after example after example after example, and I just could not find how these examples were related. So for me, I had to do what I had to do to figure it out. And for me, one of the things I like to do is I like to write things down. And so I wrote down the ones that were given to me, and I wrote down the one that I got right. Like the first time I got the one that I got right is the one that I also wrote down. And I sat and I studied it. And for the longest time, it was just not clicking. And I just kept hearing it's the letters, not the words, being repeated back to me over and over and over again. I literally got sick of hearing it the first time I played it. And for me, I realized that if I'm concentrating on something specific, it takes me, like me personally, about a day to get my brain going. Like, I actually learned this about myself. It takes me about a day to get my brain working if I'm trying to focus on something specific, if I'm trying to target and zero in on something specific. Like, it got to a point where over the course of that 48 hours, I went to sleep thinking about this game. It was the last thing on my phone before it fell out of my hand in slumber. Because I took a picture of the notes that I wrote, and I was just looking at it. And I was literally looking at it all the way up until the point where I actually fell asleep. And then, on that 3rd day, I had an epiphany. That next morning, upon me waking up, wiping the crusties out my eyes, yawning, stretching, all of that, I picked up my phone again and I looked at my notes because they were still on my screen. I looked at the notes I wrote down and took a picture of. And somehow I understood it. And so I came up with examples. And the examples I came up with helped me to fully cement that I understood this game. So here's what I came up with. It's not the spread, but it is the butter. It's the bubbles, but it's not the soap. It's the butt, the ass, the derriere, and the booty, but it's not the behind or the rear end. And when I came up with those examples and I was told that you got it, I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. I understand how to play this game now. Like literally, y'all, words cannot express the weight that lifted off of my shoulders. But for me, I also realized that I really, really had to think. I really had to listen. I had to use all of my senses. I had to use my ears. I had to use my mind. And I had to use my know-how to piece all of it together. And once I understood it, once I got it, then coming up with these examples became incredibly simple. I would even say second nature, even. Because it's the letters, not the words. I'm telling y'all, it's the letters, not the words. And I don't know, just realizing that, understanding that, and just getting to a point where, I finally could just relax and see that for me, after all this time, after all this, thinking and putting all this time and energy into everything that this game had to offer, for it to pay off like that, it was, it was magical for me. It was a magical moment for me. And so, yeah, it's letters, not the words. All right, y'all. So with that being said, we're going to take our first commercial break. Make sure if you have your water, your wine, your drink of choice close by, take a swig, and we will be right back. This is Tarodcast. Yo, what's good, everyone? This is your host of Tarodcast, Tarod Rashan, and I just want to welcome you to the commercial break. Now, you already know what time it is. It's hydration time. Get some high-quality H2O in your system now. Got a few things I'd like to go over. First, to all of our new and returning listeners, thank you so much for your ear and your time. To all of our Patreon supporters, I just want you to know that we are not able to do this without your direct support. So the biggest, dopest Tarodcast thank you goes out to you. If you're listening in and you're thinking about becoming part of the Tarodcast Patreon family, we'd love to have you. You can find us at www.patreon.com/Tarodcast. Now on Patreon, we have 3 tiers of support. A $2 tier, a $3 tier, and lastly, a $6 tier. Each tier comes with its own set of unique perks, so if you find one that fits you, sign up. For us, the main thing is keeping our subscription prices affordable. We know that you work hard for your money, and if you choose to support Tarodcast this way, we truly want to make it worth your time. To find out more about our Patreon and the perks with each tier, visit www.patreon.com/Tarodcast. We've got it all laid out for you. Also, we've got a merchandise store. Pick up some tees, hoodies, leggings, and more at forevercertain.redbubble.com. All proceeds go right back into the Tarodcast podcast and allow us to keep making high quality content for people just like you. For our listeners out there who would like to support us in a non-monetary way, we'd love that too. Share our show with people you know. Also, share us on your social media.
And if your favorite Tarodcast streaming service allows you to rate and review our show and you're loving what you're hearing, take some time and leave us a 5-star review. Ratings and reviews are what set us apart from other podcasts and also helps us to recommend our podcast to other listeners we otherwise wouldn't have the opportunity to reach. Lastly, if you'd like to reach out to us directly, email us at tarodcast@CRTN-T.com. That's tarodcast@CRTN-T.com. All of this information can always be found in our episode notes, so make sure to check there if you forget any of the information we just went over. Once again, thank you all so much, and let's get back to the program.
All right, y'all. Welcome back to Tarodcast. I am your host and will always be your host, Tarod Rashawn, and we are going to get into what this particular game taught me. So now, okay. So if you thought that I'm going to tell you the secret to mastering this game, unfortunately, you are wrong. But I am going to tell you, like how I was told, it's the letters, not the words. Oh man. Okay. So as far as just thinking about what this game actually showed me, just thinking about all of the incorrect answers that I gave, because I gave a lot. I don't remember all of the answers that I gave, but I know I gave a lot of incorrect answers. I was told that I simply wasn't listening. In fact, when I was getting all of my answers wrong, in my head, I called it the most evilest game. I did. I still have a picture of my notes, and at the very top, it says the most evilest game, because it is an evil game. It really is. But at the same time, it showed me another aspect of not only thinking critically, but finding the gist of what makes this game work. Now, kid you not, I was lost a lot. In that 48-hour time span, I was lost a lot. But I wanted to get it. Like, I wanted to get it. I needed to get it because I was being challenged. And I wasn't going to cheat in order to find the answer, because for me, when it comes to my pride, I'm not about to damage my pride by taking the easy way out. It's just not me. It's not me. And so for me, I spent a lot of time just constantly and consistently thinking about why it's the letters and not the words. And for me, I had to do what worked best for me, which was writing down those details of what was correct and what wasn't. And when I did that, when I went back to the things that I knew would help me to understand this game better, eventually and ultimately, I was able to figure out how to play. And I realized that people like us as people, in essence, are the same way. We're the same way. And so much like this game, it's like, if you think about it, a lot of people operate in such a way that they'll tell you who they are plainly, but it is our job to take what we're told and to find the value in what's being said. I realized that, just simply put, I was wrong a lot. I wasn't listening. And because I wasn't listening, what's the best way to say this? I was flying off the handle with things that I thought were correct, but they weren't. They were dead wrong. I simply wasn't thinking at all. And because I wasn't thinking, I kept digging myself deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into a hole where everything was wrong. Like, y'all, that hurt me. That hurt me. That damaged the what little ego I have regarding myself. Like, it truly hurt me. It did. I had my feelings hurt. Like, I really did. And the funny thing is, like, without me even knowing it, I did one thing right that played a role in helping me to figure it out. But in doing that one thing right, I still surrounded it with all this confusion, with all this thinking that it was easy, with all this thinking that I got it figured out. And I didn't even realize that I gave myself the biggest clue in figuring out how to understand this game. But even with that clue, y'all, I still had to pay attention until I was able to make it click in my mind. And so my question is, how often do we find ourselves looking at situations in retrospect that make sense long after that situation or that experience happened? You know, how often do we spend time playing back words and sentences in our heads that at the time that they were spoken to us didn't make sense, but when time passes and you take time to think about those things, they end up making all the sense in the world. Like what can we do to take what's said and shown to us and make those things make sense, even if they're completely new or foreign to us? You know, this game showed me that when it comes to situations like this, first, you have to want it bad enough. You have to want to understand. You have to want to listen. You have to want to get it. Like that was the biggest thing, because if I didn't want to do it, if I just wanted to take the easy way out, then I simply could have just went to Google and, you know, typed in how to play It's the Letters Not the Words, and somebody out there would have broken it down. You know, I don't know that because I haven't done it to this day. I'm sorry, that was a video I just referenced. I have not done that because for me, I have more peace knowing that I was able to figure it out myself. And I don't care if somebody on the internet explained it. It doesn't matter to me because I'm proud of the fact that I was able to get it, you know? And because of that, I realized that, you know, you really have to be willing to put in the work to understand what's being communicated. I was told time and time again, it's the letters, not the words. What's the name of the game? The best example that could be provided, and also the biggest clue. But when I first started playing it, I was not paying attention. But when I started doing that, then everything clicked. Okay, so like here's an example of like what I mean as far as how we use this in our everyday lives and interactions. And this example is completely unrelated to the game. So it's the actions and the words, not the perception. You know, because oftentimes we're so quick to throw out what we think is right into a conversation without actually listening to what's being said. And if anything, I see that happening now so much with us and social media. Like, you know, we take a piece and we run with it and we don't take the full situation into context. And because we don't, so many of us miss out on the most important things, like the letters. And instead, we focus on the less important things, like the words. Y'all like how I did that? Y'all, okay, you know, I know for me, when it comes to understanding people. I will just say this now. I am not a reader. I'm not someone who can just, spend 10 seconds and hear the first, 8 words that comes out of a person's mouth and fully understand who they are, where they came from, and why they are the way they are. So for me, a lot of the more important aspects of a person, they take time for me to digest. But I realize that when I take that time, when I actually take, and put in a concentrated effort to understand, then I realize that I give myself the opportunity to realize the whole, complete, all-encompassing spectrum of a person. And when I take time to realize that, I realize that this also includes who they are, why they are, as well as why they do what they do, alongside myself, my own actions, my own thoughts. And for me, I'm like, it's all about understanding yourself and seeking to understand and to be understood. Like, when I think about playing this game, that sticks out to me the most. And so with that being said, y'all, we're going to do something we haven't done in a long time. We're going to take another commercial break. We're going to play some instrumental music. And then when we come back, we're going to wrap all of this up, because it definitely pays to pay attention. This is Tarodcast. Go ahead and take another sip of your water, wine, soda, tea, coffee, whatever it is. And we'll be right back. All right, y'all, we are back. This is Tarodcast. Man, I missed that music. Do y'all miss that music? I told y'all a long time ago, I made this instrumental, and it's always had a special place in my heart. But we're going to go ahead and dive back into this topic and just talk about how it truly does pay to pay attention. So, okay, so the person that introduced me to this game, in my heart, in my eyes, in my soul, is truly a special person. And to be someone who can and continues really to challenge me like this, it shows me just how remarkable they truly are. It's the letters, not the words. Just taking a moment to think about that. It's just like, everything that was communicated to me, it's all right there. It's all right there. And it makes all the sense in the world, And when I discovered that, it made my world so much easier. If you've been listening to Tarodcast and you're listening to this 49th episode of Tarodcast, and we say it all the time, this show is all about communication and introspection. And many times, everything that we need to understand others is already there. It's already right in front of us. But the sad thing is that a lot of us are not wanting or willing to put in the work that we need to put in to formulate a whole concept of understanding. We're taking broken, fractured pieces and we're speeding off with those pieces and just putting those pieces out there regarding one another. And just simply not even thinking about, just negating the fact that we're wrong. And y'all, I have been wrong a lot. I've been wrong a lot. And for me, I learned that a lot of the thoughts I have, they only stem from my own perspective. And that I need to work harder to listen and break down what's being shown to me, what's being communicated to me. So that way I can continue to be well-rounded in my own sense of understanding when it comes to other people and when it comes to myself. Like I said earlier, y'all, the name of the game, the rules, and the biggest hints are already there. But also, those things are within all of us. Just like staring at us in the face. Like burning holes in our pupils. And we have to decide whether or not we are going to put in the effort, to put in the time, to put in the work, to discover those things for ourselves. You know, and that's the thing, y'all. That's the thing. Because one of the biggest things that I fear the most is being misunderstood. You know? Even with this podcast, you know, I do everything that I can to be as open and as vulnerable as possible with y'all. And I want to do everything I can to always be understood. But I also know that there are things about me that as I'm going through life, living and experiencing, there are going to be things that I'm still discovering about myself. And in those discoveries, I know that sometimes as I'm trying to navigate through that process, I'm not even going to understand myself. And I also understand that there are going to be people who see that process happening in real time, and they're going to take that moment and they're going to run with it. And they will say, you know, oh, he's this, or oh, he's that, or I thought it was like this, you know? And I understand that I have to take those types of things on the chin, because now more than ever in our society, this is where we are, you know? Whether you want to call it cancel culture or not, you know, say or do one thing that is contrary or believed to be contrary to the ever evolving popular opinion, then you are quickly and unabashedly labeled a horrible person. And I feel like for a lot of us, we don't give one another the chance to grow through things. And I feel like that's one of the biggest disservices you can do to another human being. Especially if they're the kind of person who wants to try and understand. And even if in that process of trying to understand, opinions differ, it does not make them any less human. It doesn't make you wrong and them right. It doesn't make them wrong and you right. All of it is simply a matter of understanding both sides, putting in the work to understand both sides. How did that person arrive to that conclusion? How did they get there? You know, because again, so many of us are going to put more emphasis on the words and not the letters, failing to realize it's the letters, not the words. Like just thinking about that, you know, right here, right now, you know, it still blows my mind, because so many of us are quick to do it. Hop on Facebook, hop on Twitter. It's everywhere. But I hope that I can challenge you to not only play this game for yourself, but to also think about those situations where if you see someone, or if you even see yourself taking a piece of something and running with it, ask yourself the question: did you take time to fully try and understand the whole concept of that situation? Or did you just take the piece that served you and run with it? So y'all, with all of that being said, I'm still not going to tell you the secret of mastering this game. But maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll make it into like a giveaway. Maybe I'll make it, I don't know, maybe I'll give away a t-shirt to the first person that can provide me with a correct answer to this game. It's the letters, not the words. Yeah, keep an eye on the Trodcast Facebook. That's all I'm going to say. But y'all, that's our show. That's our show. And I hope that this show gives you something that you can take with you. I honestly hope that all of my shows give you something that you can take with you, because even though this show is centered around a game, I want you to also think about the interactions that we have with people, the interactions that you see other people having with one another. You know, you have to be the one who makes the conscious effort to understand all sides of a person. So that way, when you understand the letters, you'll then see that it's not the words. I've said that a lot. I know. It's probably getting on your nerves right now, but again, I appreciate all of you for listening. I appreciate all of you for tuning in. You know, this upcoming weekend is the Oklahoma City People's Choice Awards, and I'm going to be there. And I hope that if you are able to be there, that you get your tickets and you come out and support, because, you know, again, I could not have made it to the final four without all of you in the podcast category. So thank you once again. Of course, you all know how to find us and support us. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review, and also take the conversation to our throne room. Links, just like everything else, are in the show notes. Wherever you are, whomever you are, I want to always encourage you to be more introspective and vulnerable with yourself. Know who you are, trust in who you are, and love who you are. I've been your host, Tarad Rashan. This has been another episode of Taradcast. Again, I thank you all so much for listening, and I leave you with this: make every effort to find and keep your peace. Till next time.